When you first step in to grow a garden, there's a stillness that greets you. No loud noises, no rush, just a soft breeze, a blank patch of land, and the gentle sound of your footsteps as you take it all in. There's something oddly comforting about that silence. It's not empty, it's open, like the start of a story that hasn't been written yet. That's where I began, in glowing seeds. No upgrades, no rare decorations, just my avatar, a default shovel, and a patch of soil that didn't even look like it belonged to me yet. Everyone around me seemed to be way ahead. Their gardens stretched across the map, filled with glowing plants and towering trees. They had tools that sparkled, pets that floated, and layouts that looked like art pieces. I'll admit, it felt intimidating that it's hard not to compare yourself in a world where everyone looks like they're already winning. But there was something about that little empty space that pulled me in. Something simple, something hopeful. It was mine. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. And somehow, I knew, if I could just take care of it, maybe it would grow into something more. I didn't have Robux. I didn't have friends giving me a head start. I didn't even know how to trade or where to find rare seeds. What I had was time and curiosity and a tiny bit of determination. I didn't know it then, but those three things would become the roots of everything that followed. That I remember just walking through my plot, looking around, unsure where to even begin. I didn't rush to plant something. I just stood there, letting the world sink in, letting the music, the animations, the calmness of the space remind me that this wasn't a race. This was something else, something gentler, and that's when I decided I was going to do it. I was going to build something beautiful from scratch, without spending a single thing. I wasn't going to take shortcuts. I wasn't going to ask for handouts. I was going to plant my first seed, water it with care, and see how far I could go just by showing up every day and giving the garden a little love. This wasn't about becoming rich overnight. This was about becoming rich in experience. So, if you're someone who's just starting out, if your garden is still bare, if you've looked at other players and thought, I'll never get there, let me tell you something. You can, and you will. You don't need Robux to grow something magical. You don't need luck. You just need time and heart, because when you plant with patience, something beautiful always grows. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how I went from absolutely nothing, no boosts, no shortcuts, no Robux, to building a garden that other players now stop to admire. Not by hacking the system, but by growing slowly, intentionally, and with joy. Not with coins or codes, but with consistency. So sit back, breathe in, let the story unfold, because this is not just a tutorial. This is how I went from 0 to rich in the peaceful, blooming world of Roblox Grow a Garden. I started with nothing. No boosts, no game passes, no Robux, not even a clue. Just a basic plot of soil, one seed, and a dream. When I first loaded into Grow a Garden, I didn't know what to expect. I had seen clips here and there, beautiful. Gardens glowing with rare plants, butterflies dancing through the air, floating trees, glowing vegetables. And I thought, how do people even get to that point? Everyone looked so far ahead. Their gardens were magical, almost unreal. And there I was, barely figuring out how to tilt my watering can without splashing everything around me. I stood there on my empty patch of land, looking around. No decorations, no fences, no flowers, just dirt. The garden didn't even look like it belonged to me yet. It felt borrowed, but there was something exciting about that emptiness. Like a blank page, waiting to be written on. My first instinct was to move fast, do what most people do. Plant, harvest, repeat. But Grow a Garden has a rhythm of its own. It doesn't reward chaos. It rewards care. You can't just click your way to a dream garden. You have to build it, slowly, piece by piece. And that was the first lesson I learned without even realizing it. Don't rush. Let the garden grow with you. At first, everything felt small. The plants were tiny. The coins came slowly. I'd walk past other players with shining tools and glowing fruit. And for a moment, I'd feel like quitting. But then I noticed something. They weren't running around. They weren't stressing. They were calm, focused. That's when it hit me. This isn't a game about speed. It's a game about intention. So I stopped comparing and started creating. I began to treat every plant like it mattered. I named them in my head, watered them with focus, placed garden lights around them to keep them safe at night. And slowly, things changed. My garden didn't just grow in size. It grew in energy, in vibe, in meaning. Each plant taught me something. Some took longer to grow. Others surprised me with a color I wasn't expecting. I learned which plots felt best in the sun and which ones I liked to keep near decorations. I started adding fences, lights, pathways. I made space feel like mine. And suddenly, even without Robux, without trading, without spending a single thing, my garden started to shine. One of the biggest turning points came when I began trading, not rare seeds or game items. I traded time with other players, conversations, ideas. Someone walked past my garden and said, "I like your layout." I said thanks, and we talked. They gave me a tip about how to layer flowers for aesthetics. I showed them how I used the lanterns to make a glowing corner. We grew together. Community, I realized, is the real currency in Grow a Garden. Every visit to someone else's garden gave me ideas. Every time I admired a stranger's setup, I came back home with inspiration. I stopped playing alone and started playing with eyes open. And slowly, I began collecting little wins, unlocking new decorations, finding rarer seeds in hidden corners, earning trust in servers, getting noticed by players who had been gardening much longer than I had. And still, I spent nothing. Just time, just love, just care. One day, I looked around and saw something I hadn't noticed before. My garden was full, not just in space, in feeling. It was glowing with little lights. The flowers were layered in ways that looked artistic. The trees I had placed weeks ago were now towering and colorful. I had paths leading from one side of the garden to the other, with benches, fountains, butterflies fluttering, and lanterns that glowed when the in-game night came. It felt like home. And then, a player I had never met before walked past and stopped. They typed just 3 words. "Wow, you're rich." I smiled, because I knew I didn't buy my way here. I grew here. Rich doesn't always mean rarest items or most expensive decorations. Sometimes it means you've turned nothing into something, with time, heart, and patience. Sometimes it means the vibe of your garden makes people feel something. And that's what Grow a Garden is really about. So to any beginner out there watching this, if you're just starting with 0 Robux, don't worry. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to spend. You don't need to know everything. All you need is love for the process. Show up every day. Plant something. Water it with intention. Rearrange your lights. Add a flower next to a tree. Give your space personality. Watch how it responds. You don't need a single upgrade to be seen. Your garden will speak for itself. And soon enough, people will stop and ask how you did it. And just like me, you'll be able to smile and say, "I started with nothing, and I grew this." The truth is, everyone starts with 0. But if you treat your garden with love, you'll never stay there for long. And so, here we are at the end of this journey, from a bare patch of soil to a garden that feels alive with possibility. It's been a story of patience, discovery, and quiet determination. A reminder that you don't need to start with riches, special tools, or even a perfect plan. Sometimes all you need is the willingness to plant a single seed and tend to it with care. That I hope this story has shown you that the heart of Grow a Garden isn't about how fast you grow or how many rare items you collect. It's about the little moments in between, the soft rustle of leaves, the gentle glow of garden lamps at night, the satisfaction of seeing a seedling push through the soil after days of waiting. These moments don't cost Robux. They don't come in flashy packages. They come from showing up, being present, and loving the process. That if you're new, remember, your garden doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be big. What matters is that it's yours. Every plant you nurture, every path you create, every corner you light. Those are the pieces of a story only you can tell. And for those of you who feel stuck, like the riches and rare items are out of reach, trust me when I say this. Richness in Grow a Garden is about more than inventory. It's about community, creativity, and connection. It's about the joy of watching something grow that you helped create. It's about finding peace in a place that others might rush past. The garden is waiting for you to make it yours. Whether you have 0 Robux or 1,000, the magic grows from your hands, from your choices, from your heart. Thank you for spending this time with me, for listening to this story, for sharing a piece of your day with my garden journey. It means more than I can say. If you found even a spark of inspiration here, please like this video, leave a comment about your own garden dreams, and subscribe so we can keep growing together. Share this video with someone who needs a little calm and hope in their Roblox experience. Because sometimes the greatest riches come not from what we buy, but from what we create together. Until next time, keep planting those seeds, both in your garden and in your life. Be patient, be kind, and most of all, be present. And as always, let your garden grow.